wait, that's how wrestling is? I always thought it was this, or I heard this. Wow, they really hit each other. Wow, they really bleed. Oh, wow, that's not choreographed or this or that. It puts a different light on this on the sport, and it makes people think outside the box. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you? It was a pleasure to
I'm
meet you.
good. Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me on. I love the background.
Oh, yeah.
I might be a little biased, but I love the background.
I'm a little biased too. I mean, I'm obviously a big fan.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
big wrestling fan. So you follow everything?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Sweet, sweet.
I'm more of an AEW guy these days, but I watch WWE pay-per-views and I try to keep up with the weekly shows, but it's tough. But
How about NWA?
a little bit here and there. Yeah. I try to
Okay.
watch some of that too.
Cool.
Yeah. So anyway, like I said, I'm a big fan. I tend to check out TV shows and movies that about professional wrestling, and there are quite a few, and your name regularly pops up. So I'm really excited to talk to you.
Yeah, you too, man. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, of course. So besides the shows you've been on, or maybe even including the shows you've been on, what are your feelings on how Hollywood has portrayed pro wrestling, and which shows and movies do you think get it right now?
I think right now they're doing a really great job as transitioning wrestling from a very subjectable sport, right? It's a very tight knit fan base.
Mm-hmm.
And now with it transferring over to Hollywood, you're going into a much more diverse scene and you're putting more eyes on the product. And you got shows like Heels, right? I feel that Heels does a phenomenal job of that. And that's one of the reasons I'm on the show, is to make it as authentic as possible. And so when wrestling fans watch the show, they go, that's how it really is behind the scenes on independent wrestling, even in mainstream wrestling, right? Independent and mainstream wrestling. But for the average person who's not a wrestling fan, they can watch the show and they go, wait, that's how wrestling is? I always thought it was this, or I heard this. Wow, they really hit each other. Wow, they really bleed. Oh, wow, that's not choreographed or this or that. It puts a different light on this on the sport, and it makes people think outside the box. So I'm thankful for shows like Heels because they do that. When you see Iron Claw that we just finished with A24 Productions. We just finished that project with Zac Efron, Harris Dickinson, Jeremy Allen White, Holt McConnelly, a few others. Man, the passion and the work that these guys put into that project for this film, undescribable. I was just telling somebody earlier that you got to think about it. These guys are professional actors, right? They spend their whole life acting. They really don't know anything about wrestling. Some of them are wrestling fans, some of them aren't. But when they take these jobs, they transition. So now I know how intense wrestling is. I know how difficult it is. I know how hard it is on your body. I know how hard it is mentally. So to take an actor who has to memorize pages and pages and pages of dialogue, learn how to wrestle, which is very, very, very difficult in itself and very hard on your body. Like the bumps and the bruises, your body doesn't adjust because it's just basically like putting your body through a car wreck over and over and over again. So these actors got to go perform. Now they got to learn all the choreography. They got to learn the dialogue. They got to learn how to wrestle. And then they have to keep up their physical appearance on top of that. Can you imagine how much work goes into that for those guys playing those roles? Me seeing it firsthand is just the ultimate utmost respect, because I know what I do as a profession. I know what I do as an actor. I know what I do as a stuntman. And to watch someone who's never done it before take all of them, put it together, and then perform at such a high level is absolutely astonishing. So my hat's off to those guys who work that hard, and they put in 110, 150% effort every single time because they just want it to be so true.
I'm glad you mentioned Iron Claw because I cannot wait for that. I've only seen that one still of Zac Efron cast up as Kevin Von Erich, but man, I cannot wait to see this.
It is going to be good. I'm telling you, it's going to be good. These guys have busted their tails to put out the best product possible. I'm looking forward to it. I was there shooting it, and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to see this. So
let's talk a little bit about Young Rock, because you do a fantastic job at Stone Cold Steve Austin, and you're pretty spot on. But you also started out as the ringmaster Steve Austin, his first gimmick. Tell me about that, playing that part of the character.
That was a little weird because when we first went in, I had this wig. Remember the wig I had when I did Steve Austin? So we shot that in Australia, and it was during COVID. So they had all these restrictions and time limits on everything. We had to stay out there extra time. Well, I got fitted for a wig as soon as I got there. They couldn't get the wig short enough. And in order to get the wig that I needed, it was like $14,000 just for the wig. And I think it would take, maybe 6 to 8 weeks before it came in. So it was a very difficult thing. So what they had to do was take this other wig, trim it down as far as they could, where it wouldn't show the, I don't know what it's called, the maybe the line of the wig. I'm not very familiar with wigs. I'm bald. So, but yeah, they took the wig down as far as they could where it wouldn't show any, hairlines or anything. And I thought it was going to get criticized because I was like, oh man, I don't really look like the ringmaster because his hair was never that thick. So I didn't want the fans to complain. You know how they are on the internet. They'll complain about anything. So I just said, hey, I got to get in there and I got to knock this role out and play it down to a T and give them, they're going to look for something, right? So don't give them anything. Like you already got the wig off. You got the wig and they're going to say something about that. So do not give them anything about your acting. Go there and hammer that nail, knock it out the park. And then that's what they'll remember. And sure enough, that's what happened. So it was very cool to be able to pull that off and then transition over into the Stone Cold role.
The Stone Cold role, man, is pitch perfect. And, so you're playing him when he won the King of the Ring in 1996. And he did that famous Austin 316 promo that basically turned him into a megastar. I remember that like it was yesterday. Yeah. One of the greatest promos of all time. So, did you get any feedback from him about that? Or
I talked to him before. He called me before we shot, and we talked for a few minutes, about 20 minutes or so, just chit-chatting. And I didn't talk to him after. Great guy. We know each other, not friends. Of course, I would love to talk more and pick his brain more because I have such a high level of respect for him. But, I respect him taking the time out. He's busy, so I really respect him taking the time out of his day just to call me prior to shooting. But what it all comes down to is you can't argue it. He's the greatest superstar in wrestling of all time, right? He's the highest grossing draw. He's like a superpower. So for me to play that role, I just want to do it justice, man. And I want to do the best I can. And I remember after those 2 episodes came out, a lot of people were like, hey, what'd they do? How'd they make your voice sound like that? And I'm like, bro, that's acting. That's what I do. It's acting. I don't really talk like that, but I can make myself talk like that. So it's funny to see people who've known me my whole life go, how'd you do that?
Yeah, the Austin 316 promo is like, that line in Gladiator, that's a promo that like echoes in eternity. Did you end?
Everybody knows it. We were in Puerto Rico 2 weeks ago, me and my youngest son and some of my family. And my youngest loves wrestling, so he has an Austin 316 shirt on. And I had just left to go to the store real quick to get something. And me and his mother and her boyfriend and my mother-in-law, my ex-mother-in-law, who's still basically my mother-in-law, we're all super tight. He was taking my son on this one zip line ride. So a guy tells my son, you're too young for that shirt. I bet you don't even know who that is. And my son goes, well, actually, my dad plays him on television. So, yeah, I know who he is. And my dad's a wrestler. And the guy's like, oh, damn. Well, okay, I'll put my foot in my mouth.
Now, I'm also, you brought up heels. I'm a huge fan of heels, such a well-written, incredibly performed show. And, the wrestling feels so authentic. So you played the whole in heels, right? And you're also the wrestling you're also the wrestling coordinator. So what does that involve?
Well, for me, on heels, it's a different ball game. When I'm on heels, it consumes my life because I basically wear like 10 hats on that show. Mm-hmm. It's so wrestling heavy, and I'm the wrestling consultant, the wrestling coordinator. I play a role. My son's the assistant coordinator. He also plays a role, plays Denny the ref. And I have my whole team there. So anything that is involved in wrestling, which is the whole show, basically goes through me. I help with costumes. I help with set deck. Every single thing. It's a 24-hour a day, 7-day-a-week job. So when I'm on heels and we're shooting, my life's consumed with heels. I really can't do anything else. But it's such a big passion project for me because I love it. It's the first time I got to work on one thing that involved everything I love in one, right? So I got my professional wrestling, I got my filming, and I got my fitness. And we do that. We do team workouts every morning, us and the actors, all the wrestlers, all the actors, all the stuntmen. team workouts. I do it with my kids. Like I said, my oldest son's there. Now my youngest son just got casted in season 2, and he plays a little role in season 2. So my whole family's there. How do you put that in words, dude? Where I can work on a project with both of my children who I love and who also love everything I love, and they do very well at it. We get to do it together, and there's no possible way I could probably honestly describe that, especially if you know anything about me. Dude, I grew up in a boys' home. You know, I got adopted at 15. I had my son at 16. I had a really, really, really difficult life, not a big family upbringing. So to change that around, I was the first person in my family to graduate high school. My oldest son, who I tag with, and who's also the assistant coordinator, he was Perry Hawx. He just graduated college from the University of New Orleans on Friday. So, and he's the first person in our family to graduate college, man. We're breaking barriers, and we're just trying to work hard and inspire others to do the same.
That is fantastic, man. Congratulations to you, your family, your son. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
How much in heels do the actors perform in the ring? And who are the standouts?
95%. And the same on Young Rock. Everybody, that's the whole point of these shows, and Iron Claw. The actors, they wanted the actors to be authentic in doing the moves. So we didn't want to make all these different cuts and this and that. You know how it is with shooting. Yeah. So we wanted it to be as authentic as possible. So we wanted the actors to do as much as possible, but they have phenomenal stunt doubles who work with these actors 24/7. Teach them everything from A to Z, how to walk it, how to talk it. They listen, they put 110% effort in everything they do. Alexander Ludwig is phenomenal. You know, he just works really hard. James Harrison on Heels season 1. He was not season 2 because James wasn't there for season 2, but season 1 of Heels, James could just watch something and pick it up in wrestling. I've never seen that before. I never seen a super athlete who can just watch something one time and immediately pick it up. That's how big of an athlete James Harrison is. Alan Modellero, another one. You know, super athletic, very, very adamant about pushing himself and doing things. Like if we said, hey, Alan, you can safely do this. I have faith that you can do this. He goes, well, I'm doing it. I'm trying it. So that's where I've been in film almost 20 years now. And you work with a lot of actors. Some are very hesitant. Some aren't very physical. They don't want to be very physically involved. So and that each his own, right? There's no disrespect there or anything. Everybody has their own forte. When I come to a project like this and you feed off everybody's energy, you got a guy over here who goes, man, I just want to go 100% to the wall with this. And this guy goes, oh, this guy's doing it. And I can see him doing it. So I'm going to do that too. And everybody just builds on each other and everybody's trying to just do the best they can, work together. I make you look good. You make me look good. We all work together and we have a phenomenal project. And that's what it's about, right? At the end of the day, you want to do the best job as possible and put out the best project as possible. So we come back for more.
Heel season 1 ended like over a year ago now. I've been waiting for season 2 with that cliffhanger with Crystal, Kelly Berglund winning the championship. So how does season 2 ramp up everything?
Well, this is what I tell everybody. Season 2 is coming out 2023. We don't have an exact date yet. I just talked to those guys this week about it. We're looking forward to it. I heard everything's looking amazing. Here is the truth. Season 2, we crammed in double the action in half the time. I think they did everything they possibly could to see if they could kill me. You know, let's say, hey, let's add something else to us. Let's see if we can kill Luke. Hey, and I just kept coming back to life and fighting. And, you know, I had so many guys helping me on the project. It was amazing. I can't wait for season 2 to come out because I'm telling you, the action and the wrestling's super intense this season.
I cannot wait also, you know, and as you said, you know, Heels feels really like authentic. And I just want to commend you and your team just for how great a job you do, because as a wrestling fan, you know, we see thousands of matches and we can sense when somebody's doing it wrong or when it feels wrong, but Heels really just feels like it really is happening. And it's how wrestling looks and feels.
This is my favorite thing about Heels is you have a little bit of everything, right? You have a little bit of sexuality, you have a little bit of comedy, you have some drama, you have some family environment. If you can literally watch Heels and everybody watching, even if you're not a wrestling fan, there's something on the show you can relate to. So when you get drug into it, you go, oh, this character, oh, this guy has this issue or this guy has these family problems. I have those family problems. or, I have these issues, or my friend has these issues, or my brother has these issues. It's all something. Every single character has something for someone to relate to, and it's easy to draw you in that way.
Listen, well, I cannot wait for season 2. I mean, I'm going to cover it for Screen Rant, so this is going to be one of my shows that I'm going to be on top of.
Let's talk again. Again when it comes out.
I would love it. Listen, Luke, this has been a real pleasure. Thank you so much for your time, and happy holidays to you and your family.
Thank you, John. I appreciate you as well, and same to you.
All right, man. Thank you. Take care.